All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have one of the final matches here with RJF versus CSPS. We're hoping for a very, very good end to what has been one of the best tournaments, certainly in recent memory, as far as MWO goes. Say hi to my co-caster level, everybody.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How you guys doing today?
Just trying to get the last bit of issues sorted out with the 1v1 pilots, but we can go ahead and take a look at the mech they're going to be fighting in. The Brawler Nova, which has been very, very interesting in a lot of my testing. It's a little too hot, so you gotta kind of manage your heat, but with the cool shots being available in the 1v1, should be very, very interesting. Anyway, we're still waiting on one more in the MWO match. Boy, it has been a week.
Oh yeah, it's been a long
Well, we
week
can
for
take
me
a look at
too.
where these teams start at, I guess. Pulling up the tournament page. RJFE has not had the best of tournaments overall. They lost to their Div B opponents, or Div C opponents, sorry, and no great solid wins other than the first week starting out really strong versus MJ12. They did scrape by Undercover Crack Inspectors last week, but it's not been pretty overall.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'll give them credit. They've done a couple like really good drops against some, you know, obviously uh, better quality teams than theirs. So I mean, being last place isn't fully indicative of their quality because um, when they have everything's going right for them, they can do some mean plays.
CSPS, on the other hand, with their A team, has solidly held their own. I think to the surprise of certainly a couple of us. But being able to trade blows with 228 and even a couple of the Div A's, very solid stuff by them. They did actually beat their Div A opponent, did they not, in week 5?
Um, I'm not 100% certain.
I think they did. Ghost could tell us more. So
There might be a slight delay in the 1v1 starting. RJFE's pilot is he's having major malfunction issues, so we are still in the middle of getting that sorted out. Shouldn't be.
well, I guess while we wait, we can kind of briefly go over the maps as they show up. It's a whole new week, and we're casting one of the first games for everybody. So, Forest Colony, it being the light drop, but it being a fairly big map, we don't really know what their meta is going to be. But Theta being the drop spawn, not really expecting anything beyond Team 1 going straight through the gap and Team 2 converging from Charlie and Bravo. Couple of the high grounds, maybe put a jump jet mech up in the trees or over in the radio tower here, but it's fairly straightforward, just like all of our light fights have been. Polar Highlands, the Clag warrior of choice, has Theta as a cap point, so we'll be very static as far as what what spawns we have, but we should see fairly interesting decks in terms of what mechs you take. Because coordinated pushes versus layered mechs have been a staple of MechWarrior for at least as long as I've been playing it. So, could see some interesting lineups. Maybe Lerm set up on the outside edges, potentially over here, or through the middle, trying to take advantage of the high ground ridges along both these ends, with maybe a Narc mech getting eyes from Theta. We'll see. Could be some push decks coming straight across, avoiding the cab entirely. Hybridal Rift with the Kappa point is once again going to be very limited as far as what the spawns will tell us. We'll go forward and see whether or not the high ground difference makes too much change. You have a trench over here, trench over here. Team 2 has the high ground and certainly better cover on their high ground setups, but Team 1 could surprise them with maybe a flank or a rush from underneath. Still, good option to get close, do some real damage with maybe some UAC 10s or anything in that 500 meter range. Rubelite, which we've seen plenty of in the last week 5 with heavies. Now we're going to see it in week 7 with assaults. Shouldn't be too much of a change. Just deathly afraid of anything low ground in the 6 line. Dying very, very slowly, or very quickly in a lot of cases, as we've seen. But still
Yes.
expecting to see high ground shots. Are we good with the pilots?
Not yet. Admins have been called in to deal with this situation. They're in the middle of doing that right now. Might be another minute or two. But so we can still keep going on and show people Crimson real quick.
Okay, I'll finish it out. Really expecting to see high grounds on Rubelite, but again, same thing we've seen last week, and we take a look at Crimson.
This one's a pretty straightforward map. You could probably explain every possibility and that a team can do, probably in just one sentence.
Well, I think it's developed more than that. Just the island is a very strong position for Team 2, and the question is, does Team 1 want to fight them over it, or do they take their own fairly strong position up in the cityscape up here? But both options have decent options to push. You can go straight over the saddle from Team 1's Charlie Point, or you can go Team 2's from the Alpha Point and go underneath and push up and across, try and cut them off. So there's been certainly a lot of counterplay, and the meta's shifted because this map's been out of the competition for what, 2 years, 5 years?
Something like that. It's not the most balanced map, but it's still a pretty good one. Did you happen to catch last night's where SROT I think 5-0'd UKS on this map?
I didn't
They
manage to
basically
catch that, but that's a surprising result.
yeah, if you have not seen that match, I highly recommend it. It's definitely one of the most must-see matches of this entire because that the underdog almost well they did upset Div B, but they almost did like the kind of upset that like you start chanting Rudy to. They sent long range traders from Bravo, like an Annie, Cyclops and stuff, to get Overwatch over Epsilon. Then they sent a Brawl Vapor Eagle with a Wolfhound from Alpha to the saddle. UKS pushed across to Epsilon. They took position on island like you would expect with long range mechs. Then they saw there's 2 mechs over here. Then they moved, repositioned Epsilon, thinking there was a push coming this way. And what they repositioned right into the long range mechs from SROT. And then these 2 brawlers just went up on the island and dove down on them, killed all 5 of their mechs like in this area. It was pretty brutal.
I mean, I think not leaving anything to deal with the light and medium is always a bad idea, especially when they start getting back shots on your assaults like that. If you're going to do a push, you need to play at least some defense in the back end with your Wolfhound. Still,
Say that one
incredible. If you're going to make a push like that, you need to play some defense on the back end with your Wolfhound. The Wolfhound should not be up getting back shots on their assaults and pushing across. The Wolfhound needs to be behind, waiting for their lights to flank. Because you've already got the initiative with the push. You need to play defensive with your light. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure plenty of other people can show me strats and show me examples where it's been different. But we'll see. what other interesting things can we talk about while we wait here?
Um, Now this one, while you have Hibernal, I think this is probably one of the most interesting choices of uh for a one cap game like that we've had. I wish the other divisions had a chance to experience this because this was actually I think quite clever. Um, because these two spawns are literally 1 kilometer from each other, right? Just 1,000 meters. That's it. Um, if they even move just a couple hundred meters towards each other, they're in mid-range trade. If they move a few hundred meters towards each other, they're in brawl range. That's how close these spots are. Uh, so there's either going to be a massive brawl in Kappa, or people are going to get some real heavy, strong mid-range traders with jump jets to get up in these high ground areas. That's what I expect. Uh, I, I I expect both are viable. We watch SROT do a hard brawl push down this canyon line, um, which was pretty clever. They got super lucky because this there was a rifleman up here that backed up out of bounds and self-destructed. Because SRT when that drop ended, all their mechs were 30% or less in HP. So that rifleman accidentally suiciding was a saving grace for him. But either way, still, yeah, you can probably try long range, get mechs way out here, but I don't think they'll be effective, especially if an enemy does hard brawl or does mid range, and then they just hold this cap area
Yeah, the
because
problem
this
is
canyon wall will protect you.
the old traditional Delta 3 hill where everybody always is focused for forever on this map can't see Kappa because it's in the low ground. So you really have to commit some heavy forces to get some low ground watch from here or here, or you take the high ground fight and you're being more aggressive because you're giving up Kappa. You can actually come around Theta and get a fairly sneaky attack for what it's worth, just because of the time it takes setting up Theta here, letting everybody go by, and then springing your trap across the bridge because you can close really, really fast, especially if you take some Bad
That's
Cat Mark
true.
twos instead of Annihilators.
That sounds
And
super
win
cheesy.
yeah, you can win the 2v3 because you generally have two mechs set up here and then three mechs in the low ground and pushing around Theta. It's so funny to watch because it's total panic. Like you're expecting, annihilators down here, some summoners up here, cyclopses, but the alternative route of going around and through the low ground is absolutely brutal.
I I'll be excited if that happens. Because that's super cheesy and that looks super fun to do. So I hope one of these teams do that. Polar would probably be interesting. The question is, what do the teams do? Are they going to take one learn mode each, or are they going to take brawl with all AMS? Try to because I think that's probably the safest thing you could do is boat a bunch of AMS with brawl mechs. You won't be as effective if the enemy team isn't learn mechs or don't take missiles at all. You're going to be at a major disadvantage, especially if you have MPL mechs and stuff, because you're effectively pulling out heat sinks to put AMS on. So it's a very risky gamble, but um, I do expect the whole fight, no matter what, is going to be in this circle.
Okay,
Those
that's a
those
really
nine.
big circle though, too.
It's well, it's the nine grid squares inside the circle. In the very center. Those are the ones I wanted to highlight. Uh, I expect the whole fight to be in there. Even if they people do long range shenanigans or try to trade or whatever. Now Theta's a really good spot. Like if someone gets narked or something, you can hide on that Theta point. It's pretty beefy.
Well,
Um,
the other really interesting thing you can do, another super cheesy strat, uh, avoid the cap point entirely. Let's do this from the team one side. But say you're expecting somebody to bring Clag, you can push straight across. And for as much as it's frowned upon in comp communities, a white painted flea with ECM, super hard to spot, and try and ambush them using the trenches. Get close a little bit, and then pounce on them. You've got eyes with your flea, and you can take the Lermex out because they'll be set up, 2-3 grid squares back.
uh, Oh,
Are we ready finally?
finally, yes, he is finally in. He got his computer fixed. He's readied up. Now I just gotta get Ghost ready up.
Sweet. We have stalled long enough. We are finally ready. So, we've seen Ghost carry a lot of these 1v1s. I'm expecting nothing less here, but I don't know. Jump jets haven't proven very effective, at least in my testing. We'll see how this goes.
Double checking lobby stats, make sure, or lobby settings, make sure everything is correct. We are good. Ready to kick it?
Let's launch.
I'm definitely excited, especially after the 15-minute delay. Sorry, folks at home. We know you're here for some serious mech on mech action. Um, you know, this is the real world, and sometimes computer malfunctions happen. Ghost Paladin giving a friendly salute right before this these two champions fight it.
Fight to the death.
Did you talk about the crazy loadout on this Nova with the 12 ER small lasers?
It's interesting. I don't think it's crazy. It's not, you've got a lot more heat sinks than the 12 ER medium Nova. But the difference is just the ranges on this map are kind of awkward to get those shots in. So we're going to have to see. Let's follow the much more colorful Dubex here as we close in on Ghost. Both playing very cagey at the start here.
Looks like Ghost is getting aggressive with the pop targeting. He gets the first shots off. They're both laying into each other. Ghost taking more damage than Dubix is.
Looks like they're both going arms.
Dubix is a little more injured in that side torso.
There it goes.
Wow.
Something blew up.
And there it goes. Ghost Paladin with super accurate burns. Wow, that was fast. Not even 60 seconds.
He backcored him both times. Dubex was over rotating. He got both the right side torso and the CT from the back.
Oh, Dubix cooked himself. He alphaed the thing.
Well, oof. That was a very short fight.
Yeah, you gotta watch that Ghost eat, guys. Very painful.
I mean, we could look at the stats. Because Ghost Paladin did 144 damage. Let's see how much Dubex took. We can't see it on here. Be a really good, interesting stat. So Dubex totally cooked himself and over-rotated pretty significantly, in my opinion. But then again, these guys are a couple divisions above us. Yeah, the alpha heat. If you're start from 0% and you alpha both those lasers, you will break a side torso before you cool off. The ghost heat penalty is that severe. So yeah, we learned a lot here.
Yeah, that fight was going on pretty good. Then all of a sudden I saw Dubik's HP just literally melting away. That's when I knew something was wrong, and then you blew up.
Well, as we get into it, we got the first match on Forest Colony, the original. So throughout this tournament, we've seen a lot of different teams take a lot of different things. We've seen... Looks like they're changing sides right now. But we've seen the back and forth between how tanky you want your lineup to be versus how mobile you want your lineup to be. I think the tanks have finally won out, but RJF has been consistently one of those teams that has taken the lighter lineup with the more mobility, them in 228. So we'll see if CSPS is able to punish them with just beef. As we get St. Pauli, the ever-present fighter.
Yeah, St. Pauli is definitely in a league above the rest of the
I will
CSPS.
take
Let's
all
just be
the
completely.
fights all the time.
Yeah, Pauli, guarantee he's at least in 2 drops. He's going to be in a UAC 10 summoner. I mean, he was basically in a few matches this season where a couple drops at least he took the UX summoner. Really mean with it. He knows how to tank with it all the way down to the double. Like you're looking at like 17% HP, 20% HP before he finally goes down with it. I mean, that's a lot of damage for a summoner to eat up, and he does it well. He knows how to use a summoner to tank as well as your average player in an annihilator. To be honest, really good with it. RJF, they don't have a pilot that really stands out like that on their side, but they do have a lot of consistent teamwork work skills together. So I still expect this to probably be a fairly close match. Um, but I
Well,
think you're
despite Dubex's mishap in the 1v1, he's very clearly a very good shot caller and leader for them. So
absolutely true.
I I think this will be closer than the tournament page suggests. I really do. If RJF brings their A game, they can compete with most of their division. And CSPS being what 4th place falls squarely in the most of their division bit.
Um, yes, they are technically third place because you have to cut out Div A Aardvarks from the leaderboard. Um, so they are third place right now. If they can manage a strong win against RJF, they have a shot at first place. But they need a strong win, and that also requires 228 to not have a strong win against their opponents. I think they face JGX actually later today, or tomorrow. They face JGX, so that's going to be interesting, and that will end up being the deciding in who ends up winning first place. Because 228, UKS, and CSPS they're all within like 15 points of each other. They're all neck and neck. This could be. It just depends who wins the most points today wins this tournament basically.
We'll take a look at it shortly after this, but hopefully RJF gets their last pilot in. We can get going, try and make a little bit for lost time.
Yes. Hopefully CSPS definitely. They read it up pretty quick, so they definitely want to get this on the road. Now,
Well, they did have
CSPS
15
is
minutes
going
extra
180 times.
They did have 15
Yeah.
minutes extra to talk strats and make sure everyone was in order.
True. CSPS is, I think that's close to max tonnage.
190 is max, so they're only 10 off.
I don't know if they'll take a 50-ton or 55-ton.
I'd be expecting
medium.
something like a bushwhacker. I mean, if they take a 50-ton, the only two options I think would be a Kentaro or a Dervish, maybe, or is Dervish 55?
Dervish is 55. Dervish could be good. It's a solid MPL mech. Has a lot of leg armor to chew through, so there's a really good chance that there might be a Dervish. The Black Lantern, I don't think they've ever taken it, but a couple teams used the Black Lantern for their medium mech, and they did pretty good with it this comp. I know there was one team in Div D, I think it was TPQ, had a pilot that basically ran it every drop one as their 55-ton mech. ECM backstabbing mech, I think, is what he had to build out to.
Well, RJF is actually taking the heavier side. I mean, they're only 5 tons under CSPS, and CSPS is only 10 tons under max. So this is a very heavy drop from both sides as they get set up.
Yeah, it looks like they're almost ready. Team 2 is on a 2-minute warning, and there they go, and they're locked. Double checking lobby settings one last time. We are
Yes,
good.
it is Conquest. We do not have to redrop because we forgot. We've seen Ash make that mistake enough times. I'm desperately trying to avoid it in one of my own casts. Sounds good. Let's launch.
I've been giving him a hard. I've been giving him a hard time in every stream since that happened because I think it happened twice in a row. I actually think he did it twice in a row. 2 casts in a row, I should say.
Well, he's got 3
Um,
casts today, so maybe he can go for a 3-peat.
I think if he does it in his first cast today, which I believe comes up here at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, I'm in that match.
Good luck with that one. I can't remember if I need you guys to beat GNX. Oh, wait, no, who you guys?
That's a trade secret. Yeah, definitely can't know that. I think a whole bunch of them are in the chat, though. They can maybe tell you. Come on, Level. Just say you were going to root for me. Make me feel good.
My team is kind of in a situation where we need specifically 2 teams to do bad today, and 1 team to do really good today, for my team to actually have a chance at 3rd place.
Let's focus on the match we've got in front of us. What does CSPS have?
We're looking at K9, Vapor Eagle 2, Javelin 11A, Wolfhound 2, and Osiris 4D. The Osiris, Wolfhound, and K9 are all MPLs. Javelin is medium lasers. Give me a second. I'll find out what's on that Vapor Eagle.
The biggest surprise we've got over here is the fire starter, but we've seen it used very effectively with small lasers and 2 MPLs. So very hot build, but if anything can take a fire starter, it's in the name. The other big interesting thing is we got an SRM MPL Panther over here, so they are really buffing up on the maximum amount of armor they can take between the Panther and the Urban Mech and the Firestarter. So, real beefy lineup, the sole exception being that Vulcan. But we're seeing the long way taken by CSPS as they come closing in here. What do they have?
The Vapor Eagle 2 turns out to be 2 LB10s and ERP, definitely going to be Overwatch. CSPS is taking the same pathing SROT took yesterday. I expected everyone to go goat path like you expected, but it looks like we've both been dead wrong.
They're
two
being
games
very
in a row.
cagey about this. The Firestarter takes a fairly decent strike as they land that on the cap, open him up from the back, and nobody has any head armor in this. So CSPS are playing very cagey.
Yeah, they're definitely waiting on something. I'm not sure what they're waiting on. Right now, both teams are striking each other.
Yeah, they've got no mechs in motion. Do they think they've... Oh, they've got PPCs on the Vigo. That's why. They're expecting to be able to do some long-range work before they get in there and mix it up.
Well, if there was a mech where you had the most time in the world to play the cap game, this was it. Yeah, if they want to trade with that Vapor Eagle for the next 5 minutes, they could still do that before a push. We can submit.
Well, the Vapor Eagle's got to get a little more aggressive because there's not much damage landing on RJF. They've got plenty of tree cover, plenty of low ground cover. If he wants to do any significant damage, he's going to have to get up on the radio tower there. Say, Polly.
Yeah, he did just try to go on a flank, but he got caught, and now he's returning back to his team. CSPS has a couple UAVs above their side. I guess both teams have 2 UAVs up over themselves.
Yeah, but they're just still playing this very, very cagey. You know, as CSPS advanced, RJF just backed off, keeping that, 600-meter range. Very long range for these MPLs. I don't think you can really even scratch anything at 600.
No, not really. I am curious.
We do finally have a mech below 90%. The Vulcan's at 88. But...
It's about time something at least started taking damage. Alright, CSPS is now slowly creeped their way to the cap. They got a couple mechs on it. Looks like they... Oh, there we go. RJF pushing in.
Going on to the Osiris first, the one mech that doesn't have any armor quirks compared to all the rest of them. Nate being left alone with his LBX-10s as they shoot down the K9. Not sure about that target selection, but doesn't look like
K9 is lagged and he's about dead. That K9's going down.
They've got 3 mechs below 90% after all that talking. The Panther looks to be the primary target, but they're shooting anything in sight. The Wolfhound's getting back shots. K9's got back shots on the Vigal. I don't like Comstar's position. They've responded to this push very poorly, and they are going to die for it, I think.
Yeah, there goes the Vapor Eagle. It's now 3-on-4. Now it's 3-on-3. They were able to pick off the Wolfhound real easily. Uh,
Javelin's
this
being left
javelin's
alone.
yeah, javelin's about to be picked off. Firestarter and the K9 are on top of him.
Stone Island's gonna fall though. Ghost's got a decent back shot on him. So St. Pauli living up to his legend and staying alive against all the odds, the 2v1. He's got one leg. He finally will fall here in a moment. Firestarter looks to be taking that Osiris, but very poor fight for him. And it's all over. So I did not like the way CSPS responded to that, but they got bailed out quite significantly by Ghost's excellent shooting and Pauli being impossible to kill, apparently.
Yeah, them taking so long to kill Pauli. If they finished him off right after they first legged him, like 20 seconds before he died, they could have came and at least helped Stone Island right before he died. But time to kill is just too hard. This K9 is trying to get away, but I don't think he's going to manage. He's just eating shots in the back and stuff. And CSPS now has the cap. They just have to take they're about to take Theta back, and then this K9's actually leading the Wolfhound to another cap. So as soon as he kills this Wolfhound, he just has to walk a few hundred meters.
And
there,
it's
K9 goes
all
down.
over.
Now, I did like how coordinated RJF's push was, but I think they switched off mechs a couple too many times because it seemed like they were jumping the Osiris at first and switched over to the Vapor Eagle. That Osiris is an absolute glass cannon. I mean, no, like you mentioned, no armor quirks. It should they could have took out quite a few MPLs very fast if they stuck on it and then probably switched off to the Vapor
Well, they
Eagle at
dropped the
that point.
K9 fairly quickly and then switched over to the Vigal and had back shots on the Vigal. But CSPS's initial target selection was very, very poor. They came over the ridge. They first shot up the Vulcan. They got him to 80%. He stopped and hid behind a tree. Switched over to the Panther, but not everybody switched. So you had 5 mechs shooting at 3 mechs total. Panther took a long, long time to die. They could have been very, very punished for the simple fact they didn't kill anybody in the run-in. Like, if you're going to play a game like this, you've really, really got to nail somebody. Try and leg a mech back here where he can't be a part of the action anymore. Maybe drop the Firestarter for the sustained DPS it had, but I don't know. I really think they just needed to pick a target and go for it.
Oh yeah, in these light matches, it's always the best thing to do. Sometimes you're gonna want to pull off the target because something's shooting you in the back or something, but sometimes you really just gotta bite your lip and then stick on that one target because it's all about focus fire. The team with the best focus fire 90% of the time is going to win that light drop.
Well, you manage the lobby. I'm going to applaud Ghost on doing 523 damage in that Wolfhound. I did say his good shooting bailed them out of that one, and anything above 300 is excellent in a light drop. Really mixed damage results from RJF. A lot of armor sharing. It shows how they didn't really have a focus target. Nobody died early, so everyone got 100 damage at least. So no big war crimes. No, they all use their strikes fairly early, fairly ineffectively. I'll be honest, though it's hard to land.
Yeah, I watched
juicy
a lot of
whiff
strikes on both teams. I counted at least 2 that were nowhere that someone tried to drop on CSPS that were nowhere near them. I counted at least 2 same that CSPS dropped on RJF that either landed way in front of them or way behind them, even as they were doing that slow creep towards the cap point. There was actually a couple times that if they could have got a good strike right in the center of the pack against RJF, and same with RJF against CSPS, they could have hit like 4 mechs at once. Both teams, when they're doing that little trading war there for about a minute, both teams got a little packed up there. They were definitely strike bait. T1 is now on the timer.
Well, and here we go to the Polar Highland. So I think this is an interesting map just because it's so large and you have mediums. If this was assaults or heavies, I think your options would be a lot more limited. But I don't know.
It's real open. That's that's why there's a chance of people doing lerms. But then again, it is a four mediums and one heavy, so that's a lot of speed. And the hardest counter for lerms is speed brawl, and the four medium one heavy drop, just a lot like the light drop, is generally done as speed brawl. But we saw both teams turn that light drop, which is usually a knife fight, into a trading battle there for a while. So I'm kind of curious if both teams have like a plan to try to trade this at first before any
Yeah, I'm
pushes.
wondering if CSPS might try and break up PPCs and ER larges. Theta's very defensible from a number of locations. As long as you hold the ridge at Hotel 9, you can get shots from Hotel 9, Indian 10. I think there's a spot over in Lima 12 you can get shots down into the low ground if you just need to get scratch damage for prevent caps. So I was expecting a lot harder and faster push, but maybe we'll see at least one of these teams decide trade decks are worth it. I don't
Yeah,
think so. I think it's a very poor choice, but maybe they can make it work better than I ever could.
I've always been able to make put aggressive pushing and brawling. I've always been able to make that work better for me than the long range trading. Um, but that's just me and the kind of pilots I like to hang out with. But one thing that's interesting, I don't know if it's a mistake on their part. RJF just locked, and they're stacking Alpha and Bravo.
From the Team 2 side?
Uh oh no, sorry, they're the Team One side. My bad.
Yeah,
I got these
okay.
backwards. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say from Team Two side, yes, that would have been weird because
That's
the
what.
only reason the only reason they would be doing that is that they plan to like intercept them somehow, or to get way off to the side. With long range or something, um, which would have been cool to see. But yeah, okay, they're playing it more traditional and smart. They're stacking Alpha and Bravo in the right team side. Um, just waiting on CSPS to ready up and lock, and then we can get this show on the road.
Trying to remember where the buildings are. You've got the complex at Juliet 6. Where are the building sets over here? There's a.
Here in I-12, these are the buildings in the low ground. Um,
Where's the
I
big
don't
water
think these.
tower at, though? Or the water tower looking thing?
I
Is that
believe
up
that's
here?
right over here.
Okay.
Because I know these are the fuel towers,
If you
or
get a
whatever they
mech
hold
on
in them.
top of it, you've got fairly decent shots, assuming you're not getting shot back by anything else. So maybe send an early scout up there. I don't know. Let's try and get into this match a little bit faster. We're running out of things to talk about.
I blame these teams. Usually we have about 15 minutes of downtime commentary we can do, but we end up having to use all that up at the beginning.
Yeah, it's nothing like it. We've been going 45 minutes so far. So
And we're only on drop 3. How's
sorry,
it?
Twitch chat.
Professional cast. Professional
Hey,
cast, guys. Make sure you sub for professional cast.
nah, man. You watch any of the cast, none of them are professional. Like Curline gives us all these like fancy graphics, like the ticker that just showed up. But nah, all amateur is just doing it because we love it about as much as everybody here watching it. And I mean,
Yeah,
we've seen a
and
lot of good games this tournament, so I in no way regret getting involved and being able to
oh yeah,
announce them
same
all.
here.
So
Same here. I've also had some fun moments with people. Like we got CSPS and KDCM to do some WWE, like 1990s WWE like style trash talking against each other pre-match, which was fantastic.
that
Yeah,
does sound pretty glorious.
that's definitely yeah, that will be on the MWO League's um Facebook page, or not Facebook, sorry, YouTube account. They keep all records of all the old matches in there. I can't remember if it's MWO Leagues,
Somebody
YouTube.mw
put
Leagues.
that in chat because it's a very great resource just for VODs, and every match that gets cast ends up on that YouTube channel. So if you ever needing to research research your opponents, great resource there. Plus more views, never bad. All right, both teams are locked. Once
Awesome.
again, 10 tons, not too much difference. We'll see what they brought. Let's go.
Ready? All right. I am curious. 260 to 270. Both teams are going near max tonnage. Maybe RJF learned a lesson from their last games that
Is it near max? I
I
thought
believe
max
so.
was 295 or something.
Is it as high as 295? You're right.
455s.
You're right. Both teams are actually going light then. Yeah, you're absolutely right. 295 is the max tonnage for this drop. They're both 20 around 20 tons under.
Crush? Crash? Is he threatening them or do we need to hold?
Uh,
Anyway, yes, we need to
it
hold.
called a hold.
Alright, well, we can take a look at the water towers and some of the other sites that we can dance around on. But as you can see, Theta is really buried in there, so you kind of got to be along the axis here if you want to get shots. But you can go almost as far as with a Pop Tart PPC mech or Pop Tart ER larges, get shots from Hotel 11 where I'm standing. And there's a couple of really good spots up on top of these water fuel tasks and the radio complex thing. Get really good eyes on anything approaching, so at least you know what direction they're coming from. Really good counter. The dropships have not arrived.
They have not arrived yet because someone crashed before their pre-match. They're in that lobby screen right before you drop. Uh, that has a 75-second counter. Um, okay, here they come.
Okay, just took him a second. Alright, well,
Yeah, there's a
while they're
disco. It
holding,
takes
I guess we can take a
75.
look at their mechs. Hopefully he'll get everything sorted. What does RJF have?
Um, they're gonna Summoner, Vulcan, Vapor Eagle 3, Phoenix Hawk 2, and Uziel 6P. Summoner, interesting. What is that? It is the triple ER Peep Summoner. That is very interesting. I could see the dual Summoner, but the triple ER Peep Summoner is super hot. I mean,
It's a very cold map.
I guess that's true.
I got a lot of NPLs over here on Comstar side. Only the
Um,
Crab has AMS though, so they're really betting on being able to close that range, and we're not betting on RGF taking any lerms.
yeah, is that a 2 AMS crab?
It's actually just the one, it's the B, so it can't mount two.
Ah,
And I mean, 6 MPLs, 6 MPLs, 7 MPLs, 6 MPLs. So
um,
Comstar has found a weapon they like, and they're going to use it in every possible circumstance. I think we're looking at like 30 MPLs over here.
oh yeah. Uh, RGF do have an ATM boat on the field.
I
Looks
dislike
like
this Uziel. I really dislike this Uziel and the Phoenix Hawk. I, I mean, they've taken more or less the same build as Comstar, but they've taken worse mechs to do it. I mean,
yeah.
would you not rather
I
have a Dervish than an Uziel?
uh normally I would agree, but if they have all these guys in like XL Max, or sorry, XL, they could be going really fast. They could be trying to plan a kite, but kiting with MPLs is kind of a weird. This Vapor Eagle also has a really big engine because he's only running 3 ATM 9s. I mean, you can get that thing, if you only run 3 ATM 9s on the Vapor Eagle 3, you can get that thing going like 90 something kph easy.
Okay, but if
Um,
you're planning on kiting or rushing, depending, why would you take a PPC Summoner?
that's what I was saying. This deck is a little all over the place. Um, I definitely don't know about the summoner. This match has officially been going on for 2.5 minutes, so I think we have to force a redrop. I believe if someone's down for 2 minutes, we got to do
Yep,
that.
why don't you let them know, and we'll wonder if he hard crashed on his computer. So I break the game, sorry.
All right, told CSPS to take a cap. Both teams have been told to kill themselves.
You know what? I just wanted to take a moment to commend both teams for not living up to Polar Highlands Lermageddon. But
Yes, I agree. I like how teams are sticking to the traditional what we've been doing the rest of the stuff. No one's going overly cheese.
well, they
I can't say
really,
that.
really
I've
like
done it a couple times.
MPLs.
Well, MPLs have been highly dominant on this drop, like throughout this whole tournament. ATMs have also, but that's only when the ATM boat isn't dealt with. Like if you let the ATM boat like deal damage. Other than that, ATM boats, if they're focused first, they usually die with like almost no damage done. Other than that, yeah, like MPLs has definitely been it. We've seen a couple SRM brawls, not much. We've even seen people take streak mechs a couple times, but the one tried and true weapon system is the MPLs. Since this is a redrop, Team 1 now is on a 5-minute timer again.
Yeah.
Hopefully they just re-ready up.
And hopefully we get these games sorted out fairly quickly. A lot of downtime this match. I was not. I
Yes.
only prepared like 30 minutes of commentary. I burned through it all. So now I'm just gonna have to beg Twitch chat for ideas.
um, that's actually a good question. While these teams re-ready up, CSPS is already re-ready. RJF is waiting on one guy. Doesn't look like he's DC'd anymore though, which is nice because it does show him in lobby again. Just taking a look at chat. Someone said 3 PPC summoner is fine for fast engagement. Someone pointed out. Yeah, someone pointed out that they could probably be trying to cut. Other people were talking about the hills. I think Team 1 is locked because they're all readied up. Both teams are fully ready, just waiting for them to actually type lock so we can.
Well, there has been a crash in every game I've casted. And we just had ours, so hopefully we've fulfilled our quotas.
Not every game. You and me casted one last week that you've actually went through all.
I was in South Georgia last week being eaten by wolves, so I didn't cast any games. All right, let's go.
All right, launching. Unfortunately, Dubik's locked before he said a statement. He said we can't swap mechs after a redrop. That is not true. I thought the same thing, but it's been confirmed a few times that yes, when a redrop happens, that's why you get a new timer. Is because if you want to switch mechs, you can. It's all about being fair and balanced because you never know when one team's trying to do a cheese strat, but if we have to do a redrop, then the cheese strat won't work if the enemy knows what mechs they took, kind of example. So,
well, the other big thing about that is the reason I believe that rule got started was they had to replace a pilot who hard crashed out and like lost power, and the new guy didn't have the proper mech. So everyone kind of agreed, yeah, this is you got to make the exception, but it wasn't in the official rule book. So
RJF took the exact same deck as last time. It looks like CSPS did too. Well, no mech changes.
well, here we go. No holds. Full NSR. Let's go. So CSPS really wants to close the range. RJF also wants to close the range, but if they knew what deck they were facing, they probably wouldn't. They're going to need that summoner do a lot of work while the rest of them kite back, just because, I mean, CSPS probably has, 250, 300 extra points of armor. Like, this is going to be a very big discrepancy if this gets into a close range fight.
I thought that at first too, but the Stormcrow, I believe that's not quirked. That thing's actually kind of squishy. But they still have a major armor advantage. But I am worried that Stormcrow is going to get focused and die real fast.
Yes, but he's got the longer range weapons. That's going to be the biggest thing. He'll be able to stay in the back. I don't think the linebacker will stay in the back, just because linebacker mentalities. and everyone who pilots that thing has a death wish. Never mind. The Stormcrow is being piloted by St. Pauli, so the Stormcrow is going to be 50 meters from the enemy mechs, and good luck. He's just trying to give him a chance to kill him.
RJF is the first on the cap.
So here we go.
But CSPS is about to run right into him like a brick wall.
Yeah, there is no brakes and there is no chill. I don't see any strikes landing in front of CSPS. But RJF is falling back significantly as they wait for their summoner to get
a strike did get dropped on CSPS, but CSPS actually ran through it. It dropped right behind them.
Oh,
RJF is pulling back and get ready. Yeah, it looks like...
Okay, you do not want to be there, my friend.
Are they going to dive him?
Well, CSPS doesn't have a clear target, so they're kind of splitting up. St. Pauli and Nair are fighting the Vulcan while the...
Oh no, Kai's legged. He's going down.
Yeah, he's doomed.
He ran the wrong direction. He should have been leading them back into his team, not away from his team. This Phoenix Hawk 2 is also already eaten a lot of leg damage. I think this Phoenix Hawk 2 is the next to be picked off. Linebacker is just barreling right towards... there he goes.
Yeah, your reverse speed is not going to outrun a linebacker. St. Pauli is heavily damaged, taking fire with PPCs. Summoner is backed up, but he is continuing to be the St. Pauli we all know and love and refusing to die. He a man too angry to die. Uziel is going to be pounced on next. I don't know why they didn't... He was better positioned than most, but he's also the squishiest of everybody here. Oh no!
They picked off Pauli.
No!
I think this summoner's going to try to pick off this Hellspawn.
Yes.
I don't know if it's going to work out, but the Hellspawn is quite damaged though. Nope, there goes Dubik's leg, and this is GG.
He did get a shot on Dio, but he was able to live. Yeah, just that entire thing was how much more armor CSPS brought to the fight. Because they had the same decks. It was just a lot of MPLs on everything. I want to know why that summoner was brought. I still think that was a very poor decision.
I agree. Maybe he thought it was his UAC 10 summoner. I don't know. I guess he couldn't have.
We'll have to ask him in the interviews.
I guess that's true. Yeah, we can do that. I am looking at the damage. CSPS did outdamage them like clear across the board. Every mech did more damage than almost all the mechs on RJF side.
Well, as we get down this line, I mean, CSPS very even damage numbers. St. Pauli kind of got legged early on. He lost his side torso. Really hard to fight from there. Did get picked off by the summoner, but 57 damage from the Vulcan that got caught out. 134 from a Phoenix Hawk. Like these are light drop numbers. These are losing light drop numbers. So I don't like it.
Next is Hibernal, right? Yes. This one be interesting. RGF now has lost the first two drops. They're quite a bit behind after that last drop being drop 3. They did not pick up many points with by killing mechs, unfortunately. But they still have the ability to actually still turn this around and win. They just got to double down and not lose in the mech lab. Because that last drop, I'm pretty sure they lost in the mech lab.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how much homework their teams did on this map, because this whole Kappa fight is, I would argue, unique to this tournament. I mean, when do you ever fight in a major fight over Kappa and quick play, faction play, anything? So I think this will be very, very interesting as this goes on. I mean, everyone rotated rows around Theta, but Kappa's got its own unique structure, especially with the low ground and it kind of being team two-sided, but we'll see how it goes. I don't know. Do you want the high ground, or do you think a low ground push would take this from
Hibernal?
for RGF?
RJF. Well, they might be RJF's second team, but they're still RJF in their heart. I think long range is they're going to try long range, and I think that's probably the best thing they can do. Especially if these last two drops, they are not doing well in the brawl, so they have a chance if they can hold the enemy at range, like with mechs in D3, D2, up in the high ground, like DACA traders and stuff, like UX10 summoners, stuff like that. They have a chance. They still have a chance. They just got to play to their strengths on this map. I know the last two drops, it's hard to play to your strengths. It looks like they were kind of trying to do that with like the long range summoner for. But unfortunately, that wasn't just. It's just not going to work out on that drop. But on this one, RJF's what, team one?
I know RJF's team two. I think they've got the better side and certainly the better high ground with positions along this ridge. Specifically, there's a rock here at Charlie 2 that's very pivotable because you watch both angles.
There's a couple rocks at Charlie 2 that are really good.
No. This one in particular. That rock, from there, you can't watch the low ground from here. And if you go to the far right side, I don't mean to grab that. If you go to the right side, you can't watch... if you go to the right side, you can't watch the low ground. If you go to the left side, you can't watch Kappa. So the Charlie 2 rock is very, very important because you have cover from both and you can quickly watch both.
Gotcha. I didn't know that. Well, both teams actually just readied up quite quickly this time.
Oh, thank God. Let's get
I know,
watched.
Right? Yeah.
Tonnage difference, very little in it. RJF's down by 5 tons, but both teams are going very heavy on this route. 380 to 375 on this.
This is 4 heavies, 1 assault. So
yeah, they're definitely bringing their annihilators.
Yeah, I think this has a 400-ton limit.
Well, the nice thing is they start standing. So we've got UX on a summoner. And as we pop over here, ooh, they're color coordinated. A Thanatos, a Quick Draw, Cataphract, and an Annie.
Did you notice that too? They're sporting their team colors, that's for sure. They're all jerseyed up.
we should see if CSPS is all dressed in white.
No, they're not.
They're horribly mismatched. How dare you? Summoner, Thanatos, Quick Draw, Annie. These are more or less similar. These are very similar decks. So we get the team list up here.
The only thing CSPS has in common, they all have the Comstar logo on their mechs, except for Near Salon.
Well, he's not CSPS, so. Alright, as we get going, I don't think that there's going to be anything too surprising on these builds. I'm expecting a lot of mid-range. Quick Draw taking some early fire. Don't know how effective that's going to be. Oh. What are you doing over here? Nightshare. Explain. You have AC2s. The cap point's on the other side of the map.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see what Nate does with that, but he's out of position, certainly, for this early fight.
Is he doing the Theta cheese you talked about earlier with the night gear?
He's only got a Quick Draw for backup, so I'm not expecting this to work. RJF still got 3 mechs on the high ground, and they're going to slip the Annie to protect and cap Theta. Or Kappa. See, I'm so used to it. Theta.
CSPS is actually in a really bad position because they just gave RJF the entire Kappa canyon. RJF, all they do is stop trading, pull their mechs down to this low ground, and they negate the range CSPS tried to bring, including the
I think
that's the dual Santas.
I mean, he's getting some shots off, but they're just hunkered down. They got a Quick Draw close. He's in a 1v2 fight and about to get struck out. Is this Annihilator also UX? UX2s? No, he's 5s, so he's more sensible. This is very, very strange from CSPS. Like, This feels like somebody told them just now the cap point is Kappa instead of Theta.
Now, yeah, they do have a bit of a firing line going on. I still don't know why RJF is trying to trade in the high grounds. They only have like 3 mechs trading against 5 on CSPS. Their best bet is just to hug this wall.
I'm not sure they know they've got
the
the range advantage just yet, but they certainly do. I guess they're all trying to get into better positions, but it's a very spread out fight as this develops. I mean, these guys are 600 meters from each other almost.
This
very,
IV4,
very chaotic.
Key and his IV4 is almost legged. Both his legs armor are red.
Well, the other one's not doing too bad. I mean, it's 64% to 63 on the IV4's health. I mean, they've had to get closer than every other mech both teams brought. And it's showing in their total health remaining. Looks like we may get a pick here.
Poly's flanked the Summoner. The Summoner
Night
and the
Jeer's
Thanos have both backed off.
Poly actually has either jammed or lost the AC-10. He's got the Thanatos legged, it looks like. Nope, Thanatos is fine. He's just moving slowly. But this is bizarre. So we got a 2v2 fight in the north and a 3v3 fight in the south.
The IV4 is pushing Ghost Paladin and Thanos, but he just instantly eats it from the back from the Annihilator and CSPS's IV4. RGF's Cataphract is in the low ground, and I think he's trying to get a flank on the enemy, but he's trying to jump jet, but he just does not have enough jump jets. Dubix is about to get flanked. Actually, I don't think Ghost Paladin knows that that Annihilator's right behind him. Oh, Dubix, turn around. Free kill. Oh no, it's too late. Ghost saw you first.
Dubix, considering how long he lived in that Annihilator, better have the damage to show for it at the end of this.
Nate and Polly now pushing the Annie from the rear now, because the Annie is trying to push the thing. This is actually quite coordinated from CSPS's side.
Yeah, they backed off a little bit. They're trying to surround the Annihilator and not get shot, because they're all beat up. Really got to deny some kills from RJF here.
Of course, Paulie doesn't care with his 52% and side torso about ripped open CT armor almost. He still just goes right in the face of that Annie.
No chill, Paulie. He's
great.
He's been great to watch. Alright, well, Cataphract is all alone.
Hey. I don't think the Cataphract ever made it up jump jetting up that hill. I think he just had to run around.
I think the Cataphract is out of guns, or at least out of ammo. So, he stubbornly accepts his fate. Powers down. It's very sad. Okay.
And that's game.
So CSPS started. I want to go to the map strat for this. I don't care about the end of this game. Let's go to the map strat. There we go. So CSPS pushed north with a Night Jeer, got a quick draw into this position, pushed over and across, got the high ground here, along with Delta 3 from an Overwatch. They then took the fight north with both their side mechs, while the Night Jeer supported the Annihilator. It wasn't the quick draw. What was their other mech? And they took a fight and straight through the middle. Like, it was the most strange thing I've seen. And I mean, RJF responded very poorly. They lined up along this ridge here and started taking firing lines. Like, the Annihilator made it to his position and couldn't do anything to support the mechs that were trading up high here, here, and here. And then they got flanked. This is such a weird drop.
Yep. Not gonna lie, did not see this coming. If you gave me 100 tries to predict the outcome of this match and how both teams would play it, I don't think I'd ever get this right.
Well,
It's
you
just so
saw a
absurd.
piece of that whole like theta cheese, and you can kind of get behind them and usually surprise them because there's lots of cover in low ground. But I don't understand what either team was trying to do there. I mean, maybe CSPS is like very strange playing through RJF into a lot of confusion, but at that point you just ball up and you take it. Like, make them come to you. You have the cap. Don't get 5-0'd like that. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Did you happen to catch the API to look at the damages?
Yeah, I'm about to put them up on the stream for everybody. I mean, the Summoner did a lot of work. That was the primary trading mech. Dubex the Annihilator lasted till the end of the match, so I mean, he got fairly good damage. Cataphract only got 80, super low mounts, not too surprising. CSPS had a lot of damage. That's wasn't great shooting, but it wasn't awful shooting either. Really even spread. St. Pauli, Summoner. This is his favorite mech, so I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
I wonder why.
Nate was able to farm. I don't know how many components he tore off, but he got 3 kills out of it, so can't fault him too much.
He literally followed behind Paulie and stole all his kills, so I'm not giving him any credit.
He didn't steal all his kills. Paulie still got a kill. Will not be denied.
He tried. I watched that Night Gear following that Summoner as that Summoner tanked all the damage, and Night Gear just double tapping every mech after the Summoner
I don't know.
jump jets over him.
Dio managed the lowest in the Annihilator. And I guess that's just a testament to how weird that match was.
Yeah, that's not that. I expected it to get low damage because that trading war was mainly just between all the Pop-Tart mechs both teams brought, and CSPS had the more mobile and the longer range Pop-Tart mechs. We saw what happened.
Well, let's take a look at the scoreboard here. This has been fairly dominant for CSPS, 32-8 at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
RJF needs these last 2 wins just so they don't get stopped.
I mean, they're likely going to end up last in the division at this point. They were 15 points behind MJ12 going into this, and I don't think they can make up everything they've lost already here. So I feel bad, but it is what it is.
MJ12 seemed to have a really strong start this season. I could just have a faulty memory, but I thought that they would place this by the end of the season. Unfortunately,
they got only 1 point out of their Div A opponent, so they got very mercilessly murdered. And
that's true.
Really, the only team in the division they beat was CSPS. They've lost to everyone else in the division. So.
Their only 2 wins is CSPS and the Div C.
Yeah.
Oof. Don't worry, Majestic 12. Your days aren't numbered. You'll come back next season and kick some serious ass. I mean, you guys were what, 4th place in Worlds?
I see plenty of MJ12 around. I think they'll bounce back. They just probably don't have all their A-listers signed up for the tournament. That or COVID is still wrecking everyone's lives and days. I don't know. Yes, don't get 5-0'd like that. It's a great line. All right, how are we doing for the next match?
Almost ready. For some reason, I think I might need to clean my keyboard out. When I press the 2 key, it's also pressing the W key. It happened 3 times in a row.
Well, I don't think I want to know why you need to clean your keyboard out, so we're going to keep moving right along there. So we got Rubelite.
Awkward transition.
Hey, engaged. Man, take what you can get. So, but CSPS has taken push decks, even if they've not used them like push decks. RJF has taken interesting decks, and has yet to land a 5-man lineup that I totally agree with, but we'll see. As this has developed, would you expect them to push high side almost? I mean, Team 2 can take the Team 2 can take the low push up to Theta, try and sneak up on them and take the ramp up. Or potentially do the very strange flank and try and nail him in Fox 5. Using the death low grind to Fox 6. But as long as you don't get spotted, maybe not death. They gotta mix something up here.
Go either way. I am curious to see what's going to happen. Oh, right. Just as I'm saying that, Team 2 finally locked. All the lobby settings are good. We ready to rock? Also, RJF is actually the team with the higher tonnage.
Hey, they finally did it. It took them 4 drops, but they finally did it.
Let's see if our little like golden rule applies. The team with the most tonnage wins more often.
Well, the team with the most DACA wins this map. This is all about AC5s and Ultra AC10s. Like, it's generally also the more aggressive team that usually wins this map. So, we'll see how it develops. I don't know. I'd really like to see... If you're going to have... I don't want to say bad decks, but if you're going to have non-meta decks, I want them to kind of commit to something seriously non-meta, like a bunch of assaults with jump jets or something, and try and surprise CSPS, because what they've been doing hasn't worked at all. But why don't you tell us what they got?
For CSPS?
No, for RJF, please.
They have a Mad Cat 2B, Wolfhound 2, Bloodass A, Sleipnir, and Annihilator 2A. Double checking the Annie, but everything else is DACA, mid-range.
Well, we do have a Dire Whale over here on Comstar side, so they've got a decent mix of AC2s, AC5s, AC10s. They're not really committed to any one range bracket. As the Wolfhound fight gets underway, looks like RJF is willing to give them Theta just to avoid any early damage on their light. Dubex is staying very back, or at the very least he took a very poor line to get to Theta.
He did take the furthest spawn, which takes the longest to get to Theta.
Ghost is in a flee. I mean, there is that to be said.
Weird. Annihilator's 5 UAC 5s. It's not 6 AC5. I think that build would have been better on the 1A over the 2A, because the 1A still has double the armor quirks. But it only has 5 ballistic.
Well, Ghost has managed to almost fully cap Theta and has not paid any price for it, and he's trying to lead Dubex back to his team. They are taking the high side and they're going left, so we're going to see a very, very standard, if you can call it that, Rubelite game where they shoot each other across this big ravine. As I say that, they immediately abandon the high ground to prove me wrong, and RJF is now going to cross. I mean, can't fight them from that position. You've got to cross.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try to get aggressive and do like a push strat, but they have this Annihilator, and it's too slow to do a push strat on this drop.
Well,
if it pushes out in the open, that 8 AC2 and Dire Wolf is going to eat it alive for breakfast, and it's not going to be able to get into cover fast.
I have a counterpoint. Ghost Paladin is in that flea, and he goes, what, 187 with Mask? If you add that to the Annihilator going 50 kph, that Annihilator could be going 230 kph as it kills Ghost. So, Annihilator is the fastest mech in the game. So long as Ghost runs into it. Dubex is still trying to keep Ghost away from his team and spinning around in circles as he looks for him. Not a very good look. So they're finally crossing over into the slow ground. They're likely going to take the ramp up and try and get the fight to happen around here.
Oh no, are they going past the ramp? Are
No,
they
no,
just
they're
going to go in the low ground?
no. Do not go to Fox 6 low.
They're going to Fox 6 low. Oh, then Annie's out in the open in Fox 6 low. It's in a kill box. It's getting eaten alive by the AC2 mech.
There's nothing they can do. There's just shots coming in. They've got everything set up. They've got UAC 2s in the background with a dire whale. They're gonna take so much damage trying to force this choke point. This is an awful, awful position. RJF, no.
They're about to eat a second strike and they can't get away from it. It's right in the middle of them. Cyclops and the Bloodass eat that strike.
Ghost is doubling back. The Wolfhound is now stranded behind enemy lines, and there's no support his team can give him.
Cyclops is now facing the dire whale.
Yeah,
dire whale is pretty damaged, but he still has all his guns and he has all the range. So to him, it doesn't matter.
Well, just look. Everybody is in the around 75% on RGF. The Wolfhound is dead, and everyone is around 90% on Comstar. Now they're finally going up the ramp, like I said originally, but it's too late. You've lost too much armor. You can't do this anymore.
Yeah. When they push out in the open, if they still had all their armor, they might have been able to do it before CSPS pulled back like they did. Because their Annie was a little forward. Yeah, this push is about to get ugly, boys.
Well, I feel like I'm watching the Charge of the Light Brigade and just a bunch of horsemen riding to their death.
That's exactly
They've got to do something, but this is not going to work.
There goes the Annie. I'm just watching his armor melt away. He's at 50% already. Blood F's down to 49%. And lost both his arms. Annie is just being savaged. 40%. He is going down here in a moment.
They might get St. Pauli the dire whale as he is going forward instead of back into cover at 25%.
What makes this even worse is Ghost Paladin was able to squirrel their Cyclops away. The Cyclops is just now getting to the fight when all his team, the rest of his team, is almost dead.
Now CSPS is leading the counter push, and there's nothing that can be done.
Yeah.
Ghost is gonna grab the Mad Cat or the Cyclops 1. I don't know. Flea was an interesting choice, but if you want to give last map to CSPS and their strategic brilliance, I would certainly declare this one a throw by RJF.
Absolutely.
You do not want to be in Fox 6 low, ever. And certainly not pushing into a kill box with AC2s at the end of it. The Mad Cat had shots from up high with the arm actuators. The Dire Whale had shots. The Annihilator had shots. I mean, that was brutal.
That was kind of brutal to watch. I mean, I applaud your attempt to push RJF, but even standing for half a second and even contemplating the idea of taking shots from that Fox 6 low ground was a devastating idea.
I'm definitely afraid to see the numbers here, but we're going to have to. RJF got decent damage out of their Blood Aspen Cyclops, but 103 out of the Wolfhound. They got trapped behind enemy lines. Annihilator with 200 damage. A Mad Cat with 300. I mean, look at the other side. You see how much farm St. Pauli got with those AC2s, and you can almost range bracket these mechs. The Mad Cat Mark B did have the Ultra 10, Ultra 5 build, but he was 400 meters closer than the Annihilator that had the just Ultra 5s. So,
well, they still have a chance to at least win one drop off CSPS. I still think RGF can still do it.
After all this, you think they can still do it?
I still think they can pull a drop off.
All right. Well, they've got one drop to do it. So, best of one match. Here we go. All the world to play for.
I've seen RJF in sticky situations and still at least pull some points out in the end. So I still think they can manage to do that. It's obvious that they're starting to feel, their morale being shooken by the way this match has been going so far.
Considering they're last place in the division, I think their morale was shook long before that. But if we're being very real here, CSPS has gotten significantly better in the last year and a half, and RJF has had a number of key players quit, not to mention the fact that this is their B team. I think this is more a rise of a new force and the crumbling of an old one than anything specific to this match. Because this has been an absolutely brutal stomp going forward. I mean, I'm taking it a little too far, but not by much.
Um, no, it's a tough pill to swallow, but there is truth to what you're saying, and you know, there is no ill intent. There's obviously no ill intent, like with your statement. It's just a fact. Things aren't not going so well for RJF, and like you said, we're watching CSPS go from a faction team. And then last year they dipped their toes in comp, and um, I think they started at Div C last year in like More 8 or ISC. And look how far they've climbed. I mean,
Well,
they have a real shot at first place in their division right now. This is pretty substantial
especially
for them.
considering they've got 42 points to RJF's 10. Like, this is a dominant performance.
Yeah, this whether they win this last drop or not, they already have enough points to put them in first for now. But like I said, 228 still and Kells still have to play.
Well,
But yeah, like you said, CSPS is doing great. Their Div C team is struggling a bit in their division.
so
Because they both teams play the same, so it's weird to see how in Div B how their strats are strong, but when they use the same strats in Div C, they're not as strong. And I wonder if that's because Div C there's a lot more aggressive pushes and less like top tier skill trading happening.
well, that there is a lot to be said for that statement. A lot, especially considering you try and use a ER large laser in Div C. They just don't have the fundamentals really to trade it back and forth all the way. Certainly not like the way the Div A's do. You don't have those pixel perfect peaks quite mastered. So a lot of extra exposing, a lot of extra damage getting taken, slower reactions, especially for the fallbacks as you try and trade somebody forward.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have a very controversial statement as I go forward here. I think Dio has been the lowest performer on this team, which is astounding to say, especially considering how many times he's kicked my butt in Solaris.
Well, yeah, in a 1v1 fight, Dio's one of the best pilots. He encourages all his pilots to do the 1v1 stuff, like Solaris and all that, because Solaris does help with some fundamentals. A lot of people would disagree, but I
Go ahead
think
and launch
Solaris
and keep
good.
talking.
But yeah, Dio is definitely the weakest performer in the team games. I think he spends too much time with Solaris. St. Pauli's definitely their star player. But like overall, I mean, their team is just strong, and a lot of it has to do with a lot of the fundamental skills they learned in faction that they had years of in faction play do carry over kind of well into these higher divs because they like to do their ER large trading and ER peeps in faction play, and sometimes you have to trade for 30 minutes straight sometimes, and that could be not only a test in your patience but a test in your fortitude. And they've definitely been able to do it, and they brought those skills to comp, and it's definitely like it's looking good for them. I'd like to see more faction play teams to get into comp, even the lower skilled faction play teams like HHOD. I'd love to see them in comp. I think all units should have a comp team. If your unit doesn't have a comp team, get your shit together. Get a comp team. It's fun for everybody.
You've got matches like this, which are probably the average of certainly everybody watching here. Very good players, very established teams, both of these guys. And you can go all the way down to, we got 42 in chat. He's on Phantom Ogres, I think it was, or TIMP. Mm-hmm. And they're just they're just guys. They practice one night a week. You know, they're not very good, but they're having fun, and every comp is for everybody. Especially with the way the divisions are and the way everyone's come together to make it a lot friendlier. But let's get down to this match. We're seeing RJF doing the sidelong push along the hill, so they're prepared for a close range fight. I'm willing to bet, especially with his Veagle Ultra 10s, Ultra 10s. They're gonna try and sneak up, but they've already been spotted by the high ground Veagle as well with BPCs. So I don't think
I think that Veagle's definitely up there to scout out in case the enemy does a side push, because he's waiting to see if it happened, and it did. So yeah, their team is turning. Even this Annihilator has stopped moving towards Epsilon. It is now they're forming a firing line to intercept RJF as soon as they either come out of the side of the tunnel or come across the side of this ramp. Either way, it's a bit of a choke point, and CSPS, they have one hell of a firing line set up.
Yeah, they're fully prepared for anything coming out of that tunnel to die and die with prejudice. There's a big boomstick sitting here waiting. I really hope they don't try this. Doesn't look like it. They're gonna take as they wait for their very slow Annihilator.
Yeah, RJF Scout, their Wolfhound 2, is over at Epsilon, fighting with this Piranha lightly. They're trading strikes. Kind of voice found with a single Piranha. I see there's a little bit of trading going on between the main parts of the team, but I think they should have had this Wolfhound with them to scout out this firing line before RJF got into a position where they didn't really have anywhere else to go but push through this firing line. It looks like that's exactly what they're starting to do. This Vapor Eagle's taking cover behind a rock, but did manage to close the distance halfway. Sumner is now moving to the left. The Sleipnir did take tunnel. He's going to be coming out of the side of that tunnel, or at least peeking it. Annihilator is following
also
in.
going tunnel. They really got to worry that they don't cap Fate accidentally, because that could spill doom. If you cap this any point besides Epsilon on this map, you do have to kill every other mech on the enemy team, and Comstar knows that, so they'll just be able to play very, very defensively.
Dubix is about to go down. The Wolfhound has lost his fight with the Piranha. He kept trying to take the cap and letting the Piranha peek on him. He should have just rushed the Piranha and chased him off before trying to cap, because he never got the cap back, and now he's about dead. The Vapor Eagle's now joining the fight, and they're about to dive him. RJF is about to lose this Wolfhound here in a couple seconds. They're going to be down a whole mech. And on the other side, the fight is happening. It's 3v4. Can RJF push through these three mechs
before the Vapor Eagle finally down? They're trading fairly well. Comstar has taken a lot of punishment. A couple of very good strikes landing on them. The Annihilator, Cyclops, and Summoner have been able to trade with the Annihilator, Summoner, and Cyclops. So, very big difference there. But the Summoner now has to peel off to fight both of the lighter mechs. And I think that's going to spell the end for RJF. Hopefully they can get a kill and go out with honor, but this is looking like another doomed push. CSPS has been able to take a better position and force RJF to come to them time and time and time again across this map in rounds.
Dio's Annie was halved. Al Cooper's Annie is also they're both down to about, or Al Cooper's 32%, Dio's at 50%. This Cyclops S is trading against Polly and a Summoner, and it looks like he is losing the trades actually. But the Annie and him are, the Annie was turning towards him. I thought they were going to 2v1 the Summoner, tried to pick off the kill, but it looks like that's not happening. CSPS actually has a chance to pull this off with another 5-0 kill, because that Vapor Eagle 2 is one touch. That Sleipnir is practically one touch. And Vapor Eagle 2 self-destruct, Sleipnir goes down, and that Annie, I think, is a stick. Yep.
RIP.
And that's another 5-0 win for CSPS. GG's both teams. That was well fought.
This was very, very impressive.
Yeah, RJF, you went into this, it sucks that it was a hard loss. It happens. I think most of the teams have had a really hard loss like this.
Well, why don't you grab two of those pilots to go for an interview while I get the post-game match, go over the scores. But make sure you fight down two guys. But, I mean, we can just see the absolute beatdown. That is the wrong set of stats. There's the right set of stats. I mean, they just across the board got out damaged by about 200 damage. And even the lighter mech Ghost Paladin 426 and a Piranha soloed out the Wolfhound with a little bit of help from the Nate and the PPC Vehicle. But very, very solid performance. I'm impressed. Like, this is big. And I know, RJF has been the punching bag of quite a number of teams across this tournament, but this isn't the only team that CSPS has done this to. If we go back to the tournament page, we just can give them, what is it? 50 points? 52 points. And convincing win. Wuhan Watch and Undercover Spectre almost can't lose a drop in order to maintain first place. So, really big problems for CSPS right now.
UKS's score, that's their final score. They did play their last game already, and the points already in. That's their final position after their game with SROT, which they did not score many points on. So CSPS just won 52, right? So that puts them at 274. That puts them in first place. That means Wuhan has to win 40 points in their match to stay the winners of this division.
So they need to 5-0 their opponents at least 4 drops, win the 1v1, and get 2 kills on a losing drop in order to win?
Yes.
The division? I
Yes.
think I've got that math right, but somebody can
So
yell at me.
if that's not exactly it, it's really close. But yes, CSPS with their domination, they definitely just jumped up there. Now we have Nate waiting for an interview. We don't have the art guy from RJF.
Well, it is, what, 11 at night? Maybe 2 in the morning? I don't know what time it is in Russia.
That's true. Well, since you didn't come for an interview, if you are listening, RJF, GG's tonight. I know, tough pill to swallow with these losses, but I also wanted to give them a shout out. At the very beginning of this season, when we were setting up the divisions and teams in the divisions, they needed a team from Div B to volunteer to be moved up to Div A and get their asses kicked. And the only team out of all of them that was willing to raise their hand and volunteer was RJFE. They might have had a bad season, but they have the biggest balls out of their entire division.
Props to them.
All right, I'm going to drag Nate in now.
Well, that said, he couldn't have 2 Comstar teams as well. I think they were the other ones in consideration.
Yeah. Nate, GG's tonight. You guys just not only dove past UKS in points, you guys are now the team to beat. 228 needs, I think, 40 points now in their match.
Is it 40? I thought it was 38, but
it might be 38. It's around there. They have to get those points, or else you guys win the division. How do you feel?
And they're against the Div A team.
Yeah,
they're against JGX. It's going to be a tough road for them because, I think JGX is not going to take step off the gas for anybody this season. But we knew going in, we were really watching UKS because the start of last week, if they had 52-0 their teams, they would have been really, really hard to reach, and it was kind of looking like they could definitely do that, So when UKS lost to RJF Erie, that made 228 the group to beat, and we knew we needed 43 points last week and 43 this week. And we got 44 last week and 52 this week. So I think we've done everything we can in week four to now, we really hit our stride and have done everything we can to win the division.
Well, it certainly shows.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. You guys started out last year, I think, in Div C.
When we first got into Div C and the comp queue opened, I think we played something like 54 matches, and had like 30 losses. Early on, RJF Erie would wipe us quite consistently. It was only at the end of the season, very end of the season, we kind of eked our way into the final 18. And then we played RJF, the main group, and we took the first drop against them, and then we just got stomped the next two. So, but yeah, we were solidly Div C, even as soon as the comp thing that went into last November and December.
I do hope they
Worlds.
bring that back. That was a lot of fun.
That
But
was.
let's talk
I
about
don't think
your
Worlds
drops.
is coming back this year.
No, the comp tab and MWO. Kraz has got message.
Yeah,
trying to
Kraz
get
is
a hold
working
of
on
it.
that.
But okay, so I want to start with that third drop on Hyperdal. That was an interesting setup, to say the least. You ended up with a 3v3 down south and a 2v2 up north. How much of that was planned, and how much of that was you reacting to what they brought and where they set up?
That's a good. In the scrims, we realized pretty quick that flanking in and kind of compressing the enemy team into the Bravo 2 and down low into Kappa was a really effective. We'd had a bunch of hints from guys with experience, and in just kind of getting them in a disadvantageous position. So we were planning on basically slowly pushing them into that kind of vice grip from the start. We just took it really carefully. So Polly and I over there, Near and Ghost in the middle, pop-tarting that ridge, and Dio just anchoring that back was all part of the plan. It was kind of like a giant lever, just slowly closing in. So when the Thanatos and the Summoner came up against the Nightjeer, and and Polly and his Summoner, I knew we were going to win that side, and then it was just a matter of how quick we could get back to the other side. But our guys won their fights on the other side as well, which is really good focus fire. Like right at the start of the match, we called out that make of the Cataphract had all of its weapons on the right torso, and I don't know if you saw the damage, but literally
he got
all the
57
damage
and crit out pretty quickly.
all the damage was into his right torso. Like, we did not spread damage against him at all. So he just lost his weapons, and we moved on. A lot of people think the Nightjeer's a weak mech, but I've been working really hard on it to get it, effective. And I actually think a lot more highly of it in terms of tanking.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that assessment with the Night Gear. I've learned to love the Night Gear. It might seem squishy because it doesn't have, the nice armor quirks of like IS, DACA Max and stuff, but it can boat a lot of weapons. And and the jump jets allow you to spread that damage a lot easier, which is why Polly keeps taking that damn Summoner. I'm 90% sure of it.
Oh yeah. Is Polly's UX Summoner against anybody else except for maybe like Pasha, and I'm like, he's going to win that trade unless he's 2v2 or 2v1.
The glorious Honey Badger. He's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's so aggressive. Too aggressive sometimes. He's so aggressive.
Yeah, when he had no business on Hibernal at the end when he dove on the Annihilator. His torso was one touch from it, and he still dove on the Annihilator.
Oh yeah, I was calling him. I was like, Polly.
Don't give him free points, damn it.
I don't know if he was in front of me, but I was actually directing him to move left or right so I could still shoot.
Yeah, he was in front of you taking all the damage while you took all his... We watched that as you guys entered B3, how you guys just mopped up mechs as you came around that corner. Yeah, he would just dive to the side or run past a mech and you just double tap them and move along. It was pretty well done. I did have a quick question about the light drop 2.
Sure.
Forrest. What was going on with that? Because that was probably one of the strangest light drops, because you guys had a trade war with MPLs at 600 meters for a whole 2 minutes, which is the longest anyone's ever took to trade on that map. Literally this whole competition. we expected you guys to go goat path. You guys didn't go goat path. You guys went to the around.
Yeah.
But yeah, like walk us through that real quick.
Well, in a bunch of our scrims versus like other good teams, I find that even though you'd think that would be a brawl, the forest makes it harder to really focus out where all the mechs are. So you're a lot more, careful with pushing in. Because that other team could have a Jenner with SRMs at any moment. In fact, we did that one match in a scrim. We snuck a Jenner in behind a New Zeal and was like, 1 second away from backshotting it. So that you kind of feel each other out. We wanted to play it patiently because we've noticed the longer we stretch a match, the more likelihood we have to win it.
That's very true.
So we were just fine trading. I don't know if you noticed, but we actually took 2 mechs with medium lasers, not MPLs. And then we also took that Vapor Eagle with the ERPPC LBX-10. And my guys had to wait for me to get in position because it's slow. But as soon as I got in position, all my damage was at that 400 meters. I was just pegging things with the PPC. And that made them finally put go, I'm tired of taking free damage. So when they pushed in, we're pretty bad on the light drop, to be honest. We struggle with it. It's hard for us to comprehend because none of us are. Ghost is like the light pilot, the rest of us are not. So we had decided that the Wolfhound and the Vulcan and the Urban Mech would tank, and if we got it down to like a 2v2 at the end with the Osiris and the Polly and the Javelin, we would win because that Osiris is just sick in terms of like running away and turning around and shooting. So that was the plan, and then they pushed us. I think they caught the Javelin. Ghost ended up like still having 100% mech at the end when it was 2v1. The Vapor Eagle's too slow to get away, and I was a little bit too far forward, so I just dove in on them, and I guess it allowed our team to get some free back shots in and stuff. And as soon as we got past that light, so that was we were trying to bait them in, basically, and so it worked to our advantage.
Well, you guys played it really well. I personally don't have any more questions. How about you, Fess?
I've got one final one. Ghost ended up playing a Flea on Rubelite and a Piranha on Crimson. Do you really have that much faith in his light skills to win those fights versus something like a Wolfhound, or have you been building the decks around trying to support him a little bit more?
Easy answer, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, he basically 1v1 that Piranha on Crimson with no problem. He rolled 1v1 that Wolfhound.
I came over and tapped a little bit into the Wolfhound, and I did the same thing on Crimson, but that's all Ghost needed. He just needed a little distraction to take a leg or take a torso.
You say you guys aren't good at the light fights.
He's pretty much going to win a light battle. He's going to win a light battle. We have full faith in him. And actually, he took... we did scrim against JGX, and he took a Piranha, and he didn't die in it. And I was like, well, if JGX... Well, they eventually killed him, but it was last. It's like, if JGX doesn't kill him right away, then we got some pretty good faith that that's a good mech for.
Well, thank you for your time, Nate. Congratulations on the win, and good luck on trying to get first place. We'll see how the game with 228 turns out.
Cross our fingers. We'll be watching the match against JGX and 228. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely have to, because their performance determines if you win this season.
Oh, can you clip Jay and I's epic WWE battle and post it as like a highlight reel? That was pretty fun.
Yeah, I meant to do that last week. I'll definitely get to that.
Thanks for casting, guys.
It's no problem. Thanks
for giving us an entertaining game.
All right, later.
Later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe Ash has another match that's going to start here in an hour and 15 minutes. White Knight versus... the other CSPS. So.
Oh, is that why you didn't want to tell me who you're facing?
Well,
wait, don't you have insider information now? You shouldn't have been allowed to cast it.
I've just memorized all their strats. I know exactly what they're going to do. We'll perfectly counter it every time. But thank you guys. Thank you, Level, for co-casting with me. And we will see you all later.
See you, everybody.